We live in a society where people have become desensitized to the power of words. What they don't understand is that words have power and dominion. So when biased behavior isn't acknowledged, it becomes a mindset known as being prejudiced. If prejudice isn't acknowledged, it'll then turn into bias-motivated violence. And that's what we're seeing today on our television screens. We live in a world where babies are dying and mamas are crying. A place where hate is being justified. The Anti-Defamation League is our nation's premier civil rights and human relations agency. The ADL fights anti-Semitism and all forms of bigotry, defends democratic ideals, and protects civil rights for all. The objective of the mission was to learn how to combat bigotry and prejudice in our everyday lives. The mission challenged us to not only imagine a world without hate, but to make it a reality. During my trip, I asked delegates different questions. The first being, where does the origin of hate come from?
Well, I think a lot of things spark hate, but the biggest thing I would say is ignorance. So, for example, let's say that I'm ignorant about the way that another group of people might actually react to a certain thing. Then I'm going to believe that my way is the only way that people can react to that certain thing, and I completely ignore how other people do it. And I feel like that actually correlates to a lot of different things that happen within our society.
And what is your name?
Madison Holly. I am from Bronzeville, Chicago, Southside.
During the mission trip, we went to the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C. to learn about the defamation and annihilation of the Jewish people. Hitler was driven simply by hate. Through propaganda, Hitler was able to convince millions of people that Jewish people were inferior to the Germans. In 1933, there were roughly 9 million Jewish people. Hitler and the Nazi regime killed 2 out of 3 European Jews. In the beginning, Hitler and his supporters ostracized them. He used propaganda to make Jewish people look as if they were sneaky and manipulative people. They were made out to be thieves, murderers, and rapists. Their cultures, traditions, religion, and their very identities were stolen from them. If not murdered on sight, Jews were taken to concentration camps, gassing chambers, and even killing centers. Once here, they are stripped of their names and given numbers. We all understand how gruesome the Holocaust was, but now is the time to think about how we can take the lessons of the Holocaust to better our society today. How can we take the lessons of the Holocaust and apply it to the real world today?
The Holocaust teaches us how small acts of hate can escalate and isolate a certain group of people and can ultimately lead to genocide. And it teaches us how important it is to stop those small acts of hate that can soon hurt a specific group of people, and how important it is to spread love instead of that hate and discrimination towards a certain group of people.
And what is your name?
Malvika Jane, and I'm from San Diego.
Thank you. I asked delegates what are some ways we can further progress as a society to combat discrimination and bigotry. In your opinion, how can we stop acts of discrimination?
I believe that education can stop acts of discrimination. I believe that if you educate a kid earlier in life, then they are more aware of their surroundings based on family, community, and they are more accepting, and we can stop the discrimination that way.
Thank you. And what's your name?
Amy.
And where are you from?
Chicago.
Woohoo! If you could change one thing about society, what would it be?
I think I would change how people see each other, because I feel like we're all, stuck within ourselves, and we all should look outside of who we are and to other people. So.
Alrighty. What's your name and your delegation?
I'm Ethan Sue. I'm from the Chicago delegation.
Thank you. What is the injustice going on in our society that you would like to change?
There's inequality among people who lack education throughout religious persecution and racial divide. And I think if we curb that problem, that will solve many other subsequent problems in our society.
And where are you from?
I am from Chicago, Illinois.
And what is your name?
Ashley Hundler.
What are ways we can further promote unity in our society today?
I believe that in order to promote unity, we have to first acknowledge our differences, and in that way we can become a stronger society as a whole.
And where are you from?
I'm Srini and I'm from the Santa Barbara delegation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Describe what comes to mind when you hear the word unity.
When I hear the word unity, I think of looking beyond people's flaws and differences and coming together, and just instead of seeing someone and seeing a certain race or a certain anything, you're just seeing a person and just treating them like you would treat everyone else, with respect and kindness.
And where are you from?
I'm from Chicago.
And what is your name?
Alyssa Mandel.
Thank you. What comes to mind when you hear the word respect, or what does it mean to be respectful?
To me, to be respected is to be truly listened to, and to respect someone is to truly and actively listen to them and be there while they're speaking, while they're telling you something.
Thank you. And what's your name?
Patrick Mulcrone from Chicago, Illinois.
Thank you. What do you think is the most important characteristic for a person to have?
I think the most important characteristic for a person to have is empathy, because to be a human being, you have to be able to understand other people's perspectives and really care for other people. So empathy leads to compassion and understanding, and that's what ties everybody together as humans.
Describe how you wish the world would be, and do you think that's achievable?
I wish for the world to be fair for all people and for all people to be happy. And I do think it's achievable, but for it to be probable, we're going to have to work really hard to get there.
Thank you. And what's your name?
I'm Ash, and I'm from Southern California.
Thank you. How do you wish the world would be, and do you think your envision of the world would ever be possible?
Well, I think that the one thing I wish the world would be was judgment free, because I think that's where everything starts, by somebody thinking that one person is one thing, and that causes them to not associate with the person, which causes other things as racism, racial slurs, basically bullying, and which causes more things. And I think based on how our society was built upon, I think we won't get to that stage, but we're all working towards that. I guess towards that placement. So yeah. Oh yeah, and my name is Chelsea. I'm from the New York delegation repping Bronx. So, you know.
Represent. Thanks for your time. How do you wish the world would be, and your envision of the world, do you think it's ever going to be possible to achieve that?
So my goal in life is to be the President of the United States of America. So I have envisioned the world to be a place of more acceptance and inclusion. And I do think it's possible. I think with our generation, where we really all want to fight for love, I think it's gonna be possible with us, because it starts with us. And I think if we all go into the world with like a positive view and wanting to include each other and make each other happy instead of hateful, then the world will just be a better place.
And what is your name?
I am Nicole Nadabaji, and I am from New York City.
What is one way you can make an impact on the lives of others?
Basically, I think the one way you can make an impact is it's by loving, and not just loving like the emotional feeling or like the instinctual feeling when you find someone that's beautiful and attractive and you're like, ooh, I love her. It's more like choosing to love the differences, choosing to love the little things that make you different from one another. And once you are able to love each other for the differences, the similarities come hand in hand. Yeah.
Thank you. And what's your name?
I'm Louis Colley. I'm from Miami, Florida.
Thank you. What all of these interviews have in common is that they're all expressing the importance of being conscious of what we say and what we do. We need to remember that words truly have power and dominion. Genocide wasn't just created overnight. Genocide was built by words. I want you to remember that what you say is who you want to be, but what you do is who you are. So please be mindful of what you say and do. And lastly, let's not just imagine a world without hate, but instead, let's choose to create one.